So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and lots and lots of good stuff happening in World of Tanks in the last week or so. So another quick update from me. You may have seen this in other places, but I just thought it was nice to bring it all together in one place for my own sanity, if nothing else. So first up, you will have seen, no doubt, that the new French Tier 8 premium tank, the AMX M4 MLE 49 Liberté, is available in the game shop. Done a separate video on that. You can see the link to it here. Needless to say, I love this tank. It's great fun, really good fun. Really good armor, okay gun, not as good as I was expecting, but a good honest heavy tank. So check it out if you're interested in that. Other thing to say is the T26 E5 Patriot, which is the American Tier 8 heavy tank, which decked out in the red, white and blues, is available on the North American server only so far. It's not come to the EU one. Now I imagine that's only a matter of time before they come over, bring it over here, and maybe we'll get that and they'll get the Liberté. I don't know, but it's available now on the North American server. Looks like being a good tank, and one thing I will applaud Wargaming on, well, Wargaming North America on anyway, they make the tank available in a non-patriotic colour, so just standard camo here, and the one that's decked out with the red, white and blue, or the star-spangled banner. And so it's your choice if you want to have the plain one or the cartoon one, as I would call it, which is great, because given a choice I'd always take the plain one, because this is just ridiculous. Unfortunately, EU haven't allowed us that option, so when you buy the Liberté you have to buy it with this stupid colour scheme, like a real tank would ever have those kind of colours on it. The only great thing about it, the Liberté has a great big cock on the side of its turret. No comments, please. So one interesting thing I saw on Status Report is that the T26 E5 Patriot, so the one that's decked out in the Star-Spangled Banners, actually has worse armor, turret armor, than the non-tarted up version, and that's apparently because they have removed a strip of tracks that was hung on the side of the turret for visual effect, but that actually has the effect of removing 13mm of turret armor, which is exactly where the loader sits. So yeah, so you get a horrible cartoon looking tank, which also has weaker armor and a wonderful weak spot where your loader can be taken out. Good job there. So I'm sure by now most people have seen this statement from Wargaming, and it's to be applauded. I think well done, Wargaming, finally getting to grips with what is allowed and what is not allowed as a mod in the game. So they issued this fair play policy, and basically the long and short of it is that they are cleaning up the mods that are used in the game, and if you are found to be using one, apparently they have all kinds of new ways of detecting what mods are being used, and if you're found to be using one that's deemed illegal or is on the forbidden list, you will get a warning, and with that warning, as a first offence, you will get a 7-day game suspension, so you won't be allowed to play for 7 days. If you continue, or you're found to do it again, so a second offence, your account will be permanently banned. So you will permanently be excluded. That account will no longer be usable by you or anybody else in the game, which is quite severe and quite right in my book. Absolutely quite right. So what are forbidden mods? Now, one of the biggest problems we've had with Wargaming and talking about mods and what there are and aren't, well, there's two big problems I've seen so far with all the years I've been playing this game. One is that there's never been a definitive list of what is allowed and what isn't allowed, and that grey area of things that maybe players aren't terribly sure they should be using, has opened up a lot of how to put it, so players who just kind of close their eyes to the reality and just carry on doing it anyway, even though they kind of know that it's wrong. So there'll be none of that anymore. The second thing that there's never really been in the years I've been playing is a consistency across the different servers. So some mods, and the great example is the Battle Assistant mod, which is now commonplace for using with artillery. When that first came out, it was not allowed in North America, I believe, and yet every other region seemed to accept it. And that's kind of inconsistency of what is and what isn't allowed doesn't help the process either, because some players do have accounts on one or more server, and if they're able to use one mod on one and then not on another, they'll sort of, yeah, they may well be tempted. So there is now a list of, well, there will be a list, I believe, of exactly what mods, but these are the forbidden ones. So these are the ones that will instantly get you a first warning if you are deemed to be using them. So mods that reveal or estimate enemy positions. So that is the sort of things that we've seen of trees falling down on a mini-map. There are some mods, apparently, I've never actually used anything like this myself, where the if you are driving along and you're not spotted but you knock over a tree, if somebody's running that particular mod, their little mini-map marks where a tree or any other piece of terrain was broken or knocked over or what have you, which clearly gives you an unfair advantage in terms of knowing where the enemy are coming from. There's also the more sort of traditional inverted commas hacks or mods that are illegal, which is, you know, showing people beyond their natural view range so you know exactly where people are and so forth. So that's not good. Laser beams and enemy aiming indicators. So that's when you have basically a line coming out the enemy gun, so you can see exactly where they are pointing and where they're aiming. Clearly that's a big advantage, because if you notice they're not actually looking at you, or not aiming at you in the correct way, then you can take advantage of that, and that's not right. A big one, which I have to say, hands up, I have used because it was on a mod pack, you know, I took it off some time ago now because I thought actually it probably wasn't a justifiable one, is the enemy reload indicators. So this is a very commonly available in a lot of the mod packs that you can download, which puts a little counter above the enemy tanks to say how long it's estimated before they are able to reload. Yeah, it's not right, and I have to say, after I'd used it for a couple of a week or so, I guess, I thought actually this isn't right, and so I took it out again. And you know, that's going to be put me, if I carried on using it, I'd be warned and banned for that. So yeah, don't use the enemy reload indicators if that's what you've got. Auto aims and weak spot tracers, well, again, that's, nobody will be surprised that those are not allowed. So that is where the mod does the work for you, basically. So it takes over the aiming. It either hits the and generally it aims for weak spots almost automatically, or as you saw in some of the videos that Quickie Babes and others have posted, it anticipates where the enemy tank is going to be and puts a shell perfectly to that spot. So hitting a moving target and so forth becomes almost, you know, is second nature and almost impossible to miss. In fact, it is impossible to miss. Automatic triggers for non-premium consumables. So basically that is where you have a manual fire extinguisher, which you normally need to hit the button to set it off. There are apparently mods, I didn't even know this, but I guess it's inevitable, that would turn that into an automatic fire extinguisher without you having to pay the extra credits to buy it. So I mainly use automatics myself because over the years I've won quite a lot. I don't think I've ever bought a premium fire extinguisher, but anyway, that's a mod is an automatic ban again. And then any mod that alters game files or in-game objects to grant the user any advantages. Now, one of the things that's been bouncing around, we've discussed as, in a clan with the groups I play with, was around whether the mods that turn enemy dead tanks white is allowed or not. And this could fall into this because it's changing in-game objects to gain the user an advantage. And as somebody pointed out to me yesterday, if you've got a white tank that you know is dead and there's a live tank using it for cover, the fact that the target you're aiming for is darker than the white tank that's dead means actually being able to fire at them is a lot easier for you, because you can pick out where their outline is and where their tank is much easier because of the contrast between the normal tank and the whited out tank. So I suspect that one will also be banned. But I think there's still a little bit of wriggle room here, and I would really like Wargaming to put out a proper list of what they mean by these mods. So some examples of the sort of things that are commonly available, and some of these are, we're not talking about going off and buying Warpack or whatever it is that you have to pay money for to get these very clearly cheat packs. A lot of these mods are freely available, a bit like the enemy reload indicator and the whiteout thing, freely available when you download one of these mod packs. And if you tick the wrong box and you downloaded it in all good faith, you could find yourself banned. So I would really like them to put out a proper list of what is and what isn't possible. But overall, really good to see this. I think it's to be applauded. It's about time they got to grips with mods, illegal mods, and doing more to level the playing field for players. I wonder how much, I'd love to see some stats about how serious a problem this really is. Undoubtedly there are players using illegal mods, and some downright nasty mods that give them a huge advantage. I wonder how many are really using it though, in terms of the overall player base. I know every game you ever play pretty much somebody will moan about a hacker, and generally it's just because they've been incompetent or the enemy team's been better. It's not often genuinely a case of somebody who's done something or had a sort of mod or something that's enabled him to get a huge advantage. It's generally just the advantage is he's a better player, or he's got lucky. Sometimes that happens. So it would be interesting to see what happened. But anyway, to be applauded. Congratulations Wargaming for trying to get to grips with this. So go and read the stuff on Fair Play, and read the stuff about the mods. My recommendation is that if you are any doubt that the mod you're running is illegal, if you suspect that it might be not so good to use, don't use it. Don't risk it. Do you really want to be banned for 7 days and then potentially have your account taken off you? I know I don't. I'm going to go back through my mods and just double check that I've got nothing loaded anymore that's relevant, that could be possibly on this list. I'm pretty sure I don't, but I'm going to double check it. So there you go. Interesting times ahead. So also you will have seen, if you've logged in, this weekend up until the 15th is a special ×5 weekend. So it's to commemorate Veterans Day. So obviously when I'm filming this, it's the 11th, which is in the UK and lots of Europe, is Armistice Day. So from 6 o'clock on the 11th, which was the Friday, up until 6 o'clock in the morning on the 15th, which is the Tuesday, there's a special running, which is a really good one. If you're looking for, in the business of buying some higher tier tanks or even some premium tanks, this is your time to buy them. It's ×5 for the first win of every day in every tank. So that's nice, really good way to get your cruise experience up. -15% for tier 8, 9 and 10 regular tanks, and 30% off tier 6, 7 regular tanks. So if you've unlocked a tier 8 and a tier 9 or a tier 10 and you're waiting to get the credits together, yeah, good time to buy it. 15% off. I bought the T30 today because I'd unlocked it and I was just waiting for the right moment to do it, and 15% off saved me quite a lot of credits, so that's great. Also, there's 15% off Tier 8 premiums, so if you want your IS-6 or you want your Super Pershing, again, now is probably a good time to go and buy it. And also 30% off Tier 6 and 7 tanks, so really nice, good. Oh, there's also a mission underway, so if you do earn 125,000 experience over any number of battles between that period, and the only way you earn it is you've got to be in the top 10 on your team, so no bots and sitting there doing nothing. And it's base experience. Yeah, base experience only. You will win one of these light VK6Cs, which is a British Tier 2 light tank premium, I believe, a garage slot, and this peace symbol. So there you go. Just what you want. So it seems we're rushing towards patch 917. Wargaming announced or gave us details of what's in the first super test that's coming. So bear in mind these things may change, and there may yet be other things that are added in by the time they get to the test server and then ultimately the real server, but it's interesting to see what we can expect. So 917, as we know, is when we will be getting the 2 branches of Swedish vehicles. So you get one branch which is the tank destroyers, and another one which is it's a hybrid line, starts with lights, goes to medium, and then becomes heavy tanks. It's going to be very interesting. I covered this in the last video, but the TDs have a whole new mechanic. So they at tier 8, 9 and 10 they have this sort of gyro stabilizer system, because the guns are actually mounted and immovable in the hull of the tank. The only way they can fire is by moving the entire hull, and they've fitted them with some kind of pneumatic suspension. So you have to, and I won't go into detail now, but it does look, it's going to be very interesting. The other feature of the TD line is that they're all lightly armoured. They have very good camo, they have very good guns, they're very lightly armoured, which is interesting. So before everyone goes, oh my god, what's the point of that? In this patch, they are also investigating a change to the mechanics for looking at overmatching on the frontal armour. And there's quite an in-depth piece here that you can read if you're really interested. Go along to the Wargaming website and read it. But effectively what they are doing is that they are taking more notice of the angling of the target. So it used to be just a pure calculation between the armour thickness and the calibre of the shell. There's now much more input on the angling of the frontal armour, or the armour where it's hitting. So it does effectively, the long and short of it, means that tanks that are really well sloped, like the Swedish tank destroyers, will manage to get a lot more ricochets than they would previously have got in the old system, depending on how good their angling actually is. So that's kind of interesting and could have a huge impact, literally, on multiple branches. I can think of several tanks where the angling is very marked, and you already bounce a few shells, so if you get even more benefit for being angled, then that could be very interesting. So we shall watch and see what this means. Excuse the police going by. They're out to get you. So that's very interesting, and it's going to be very interesting to see how many interestings I can get into this sentence, how they're going to deal with other tanks that have armour, but are also really well angled. So I'm struggling to think of one right now, but there's a lot of tanks out there that have actually actually this new French premium tank, the Steel Cock, if that has improved ricochet ability, it already ricochets a hell of a lot off the front. So yeah, interesting. We're going to have to see how that pans out. Other thing, this always gets people very excited, so changes to some of the best loved premiums in the game. Now again, as I said, caveat, we don't know for certain that these are going to come in. It's just what they are muting. So what you're talking about here with the Lurv is a very substantial increase. Let me increase that size. Very substantial increase in gun depression, so from -8 to -10, and better armor, lower plate and upper plate and turret armor on that beast. Side armor and is also going to be increased. So definite up armoring of the Lurv, which is interesting. I think Lurv has suffered. It's not a great premium, so I know some people love it, but on the whole, it's not a very well played. And I look at my own abilities with it, and I'm not the greatest player in the world. I'm very happy to admit that, but I really struggle in the Lurv. I have some fantastic games, but more often than not, it's awful. So better gun depression, better armor means that you're going to be able to do a bit of side scraping a bit more effectively than you previously could. You can probably get over into hold down positions, hillsides, etc. So it's going to be interesting. The FV4202, which is a great little British medium in my mind, is going to have a 5 km/h increase in speed, which is great. So that brings it up to the same sort of speed as a Centurion, and I think that's great. It needs that. It's a great tank. I really like the FV4202, but increased speed makes a lot of sense. Plus it will get a boost in profitability, so you'll get extra 10% in terms of credit generation with it. The STA2, which has had a couple of buffs in the past, is now getting another one, so you will get a brand new engine fitted to it, and we'll give it an extra 10 km/h, which is pretty good. Will be really good actually. The Revolver, the Revolise, the Tier 8 French premium medium tank, getting a lot of buffs on its gun. And again, I think this is long overdue, because I've been disappointed by how good that gun is. And bear in mind, this is a Tier 8 premium tank in the hull of a Tier 5 tank. So the only thing you've really got going for it is its gun, and if the gun's shite, which I think it is, it really doesn't have a lot going for it. So basically what they're doing is better dispersion when you move or turret moves, better dispersion on the move. Your dispersion overall is getting reduced. Aim time is being reduced from 2.8 to 2.4, which is nice. Fairly big increase in engine power, so you'll be a bit more mobile. Also significantly increasing the gun depression from -7 to -10. So some really big changes on the Revolise. So basically a better gun depression, and a bit more speed. So I think that's going to make that tank a lot more interesting to play than it is at the moment. The Panther 88, better traverse speed for the hull, from 38 degrees per second to 40, and also increase of engine power from 600 horsepower to 700 horsepower. Again, I think that's a tank that needed a buff to its mobility. I've always found that you fire a couple of shots and you just can't get away from anything that's closing in on you quickly. So speed improvement has got to be good. WZ111, which is the Chinese Tier 8 premium tank, again improving the gun mechanics, so better dispersion, better aim time from 3.4 to 3 seconds, which is very good. Increase in horsepower by 50, and increases to the lower plate and the turret armor. So that's good. I think again that tank has not really been as popular as Wargaming would like, and clearly that's why they're giving it a good old buff. So other things on the super test is improved sounds. They're reworking another 7 of the mini-maps to make them clearer. And there's, oh there we go, another one there. And there's a number of HD models coming through, so you can see them all here. I won't talk about them all. So actually not as many of those as there have been in past patches. So it looks like on the surface it's going to be quite a big update coming in with 917. But again, as I said before, caveat is some of these changes may be implemented, some of them may not. They may change things, and they may well bring more things in. So interesting thing that the Daily Bounce reported, and I thoroughly recommend this World of Tanks and World of Warships blog. Really good. So Daily Bounce is talking about some changes being super tested to the Pilsen map. Now there's 3 different versions. This one, which seems to create more space out here on the right hand flank. Difficult to see what the changes here are particularly. And this one, which doesn't, it seems to actually make it more cluttered over here than previously. So anyway, link down below again to the Daily Bounce. Have a look at what they're saying. Interesting that Wargaming continue to refine some maps but not others. I actually think Pilsen's a really good map myself. I think it's got something for all classes of vehicles, and that's really what I want to see in a map. I think some of the others, there's Ensk is one, could do with a rework. I think the one where there's several. Tundra I hate particularly myself, but I can see why people do like it. But you know, I think there's lots of them that could do with a little bit of looking at. I'm intrigued that they're picking on Pilsen, which I personally don't see as a particular problem. But anyway, they are, and who knows what will come through. But it's good that they're continuing to look at the mechanics and the statistics from each of the maps as they are played. So nice touch from Wargaming. You've probably seen if you've been into the Wargaming shop. You can buy some special badges to go on your tanks, which are supporting the charity Wild Child. And Wild Child is a specialist charity supporting children affected by conflict. So good on Wargaming. They're helping donating money from the selling of these particular emblems. You can buy a pack of 3 for €1.99 and 10 for $4.99. So you've probably only got a few days left to do that, but it's nice to see that they're giving back, as the Americans would say. So next up,
is a true born racer.
Just a sort of bit of light relief really. I saw this video Wargaming posted
someone soaks up damage
a week or so ago,
and someone
which looks at how
just a winner in life.
spotting mechanics work within the game. And I thought it was a really good explanation of how the actual logistics of it all work.
It's enough to understand the
so
game
if you've always
mechanics,
woned how the thing happens and what you need to do to conceal your tank more efficiently, I thoroughly recommend go and have a look at this video. It talks literally about how the computer draws the sort of shapes and how it actually spots the vehicles and what the mechanics are for how that happens. Really clear, really well done, and simple to understand.
The visibility system,
like me can understand.
a keystone,
So
a giant turtle that holds up the earth. You may not believe it, you may be surprised by it,
It's done in
you may argue
nice
about it,
well.
but whether you like it or not, it works.
So anyway, have a look at that video. I thoroughly recommend it. It's a good one, worth having a look at. Intriguingly, they did a North American one and a European one, so go along to whichever flavour floats your boat. They have also done one about how to play autoloaders. That doesn't work for me as much as the spotting one does. So, but you know, each to their own. So this is the autoloader one. Can't say it particularly thrills me, but hey ho.
A vehicle with an
autoloader
is a strange thing.
So there you go, lots of exciting things coming through the into our favourite game in the next few weeks and months. Some stuff already in the game. So hope you enjoyed this video, this quick look at the world of tanks. If you did, please give it a like down below, and if you didn't, still give it a like down below. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. It's free and easy, and you get to see what I'm posting when I post it. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Enjoy your games, have fun. Try not to take it too seriously. It is a damn game, and I'll see you again soon. Gamer Dom, out.